Congratulations to the Miami Heat on their 108-91 victory against the Toronto Raptors. At the beginning of the streak, the Miami Heat was 29-14 after winning now 22 consecutive games in a row, tying the 2007-2008 Houston Rockets for the second longest win streak in NBA history. They've now gone to 51-14, the best record in NBA. And congratulations to them. The next opponent will be the Boston Celtics tomorrow, who I strongly suspect may end their streak. But who knows? Anyway, I think the streak is meaningless in the grand scheme of things. It's nice to see. It's not really impressive to me because of the competition in the NBA, particularly in the Eastern Conference. We earlier this year saw, I think, the Clippers win something like 17 games in a row. And I thought that streak was more impressive because of the competition in the Western Conference. But that's just my opinion. But anyway, this video I'm going to be talking about how much easier the league, from my perspective anyway, I'm going to be talking about how much easier it is to have these 15 to 20 game win streaks now, as opposed to when the Los Angeles Lakers actually did it. The 71-72 Lakers actually set the record for the 33 game win streak. Now, in today's NBA, I think there are 32 teams. And back when the Lakers set the record, there were 17 teams. Now, you could look at that two different ways. You could say, well, back then, if you were a new age guy, you could say, well, now there's more teams, so there's more competition. However, I tend to look at it more like this. Well, there were less teams, so therefore there were fewer opportunities. So therefore the cream of the crop were the ones who you played against more often. You didn't have all these open roster spaces for people who weren't good enough to play back then. But even with that, I mean, I want to run off some names to you guys, and some of you older guys, or some of you guys who know about basketball, you'll see what I'm talking about. This is the competition that the 71-72 Los Angeles Lakers had to play against. Now, sure enough, all these teams, they didn't play against, some of these teams as often as others because they were in the Western Conference. But still, look at this. Like with the Phoenix Suns, you got Connie Hawkins, Charlie Scott, who was a scoring champion with the ABA. You had Paul Silas, and you had Dick Van Arsdale, right? Then you had the Boston Celtics, who were one of the two dominant teams of the early to mid 1970s, the other being the New York Knicks. All right, the Boston Celtics, you had Dave Cowens, you had John Havlicek, you had Don Nelson, and you had JoJo White. All right, then with the Bucks, the team that eventually ended the Lakers' 33-game win streak, you had Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, you had Oscar Robertson, you had Lucius Allen, you had Bob Dandridge. A great damn team. With the Philadelphia 76ers, you had Billy Cunningham, Fred Carter, Hal Greer, and Luke Jackson. With the Chicago Bulls, who at that time were in the Western Conference, you had Tom Boerwinkle, who still holds the franchise record for most rebounds for the Chicago Bulls. You had Bob Love, you had Chet Walker, you had Norm Van Leer, and then you had the Houston Rockets, you had Elvin Hayes, Calvin Murphy, and Rudy Tomjanovich, and Stu Lance. All right, with the Atlanta Hawks, you had Walt Bellamy, you had Pete Maravich, you had Lou Hudson. All right, with the Seattle Supersonics, you had Fred Brown, downtown Fred Brown. One of the first guys to, later on in his career, utilize three-point shot. You had Spencer Haywood. You had Lenny Wilkins. All right. With the Detroit Pistons, you had Bob Lanier, Dave Bing, Jimmy Walker. No, not that Jimmy Walker. This Jimmy Walker, first round pick of the 1967 NBA draft, and Jalen Rose's father. Right then, you had the Golden State Warriors. You had Nate Thurman. You had Jeff Mullins. You had Cazzie Russell. With the Cincinnati Royals, who are known today as the Sacramento Kings, you have Nate Archibald, Tom Van Arsdale, and Sam Lacey. With the Knicks, who arguably had one of the most loaded teams ever, who the Lakers beat that year in the playoffs, in the finals, and who won the championship the very next year and had won it in 1972 against that same Laker team. All right, check this lineup out. You had Dick Barnett. You had Bill Bradley, Dave DeBusschere, Walt Frazier, Jerry Lucas, Earl Monroe, and you had Phil Jackson, a very good six-man. And then, not to mention, you had Willis Reed, who was injured for most of that year, but still, you had Willis Reed on the roster. That was a team, man. That was a team that, if you take that team right now and you put them in a time machine to 2013, give them all the nutritional benefits that you have now, each player will be a little bit bigger with the enhancements, quote unquote, that we have now. They'd be stronger. They'd be more athletic. Plus the skills these guys already had from going to college. I guarantee this team right here, and the way they played as a team, as a cohesive unit, this team right here probably would win 65 to 70 games every fucking year. I very strongly believe that. Then you have the Baltimore Bullets, now known as the Washington Wizards. You have Phil Chenier, you have Wes Unseld, Jack Marin, Archie Clark. Then you have the Portland Trailblazers. And these are some of the bottom-feeding teams now, but still, Portland Trailblazers, you had Sidney Wicks and G.F. Petrie, the first guy to ever have a shoe deal in the NBA. Yeah, a white guy. Then you had the Cleveland Cavaliers, Austin Carr, Butch Beard, very popular Bingo Smith, John Johnson. And then you had statistically the worst team in the NBA, still with threats like Randy Smith and Elmore Smith. So this is the competition that the 71-72 Lakers had to play against to get that 33-game win streak. That's fucking impressive to me. Plus, you look at the fact that that team, the 71-72 team, you look at the names. Yeah, you see Wilt Chamberlain and, you see Jerry West, okay? But those two guys were, by that time, well past their primes, all right? There were other people on that team besides those two, You had Gail Goodrich on the backcourt. I think he was playing more or less the point for the team. You had Happy Harrison, who was helping Wilt Chamberlain on the boards. Him and Wilt Chamberlain might have been the best rebounding duo for a team in NBA history, perhaps. That's a subjective opinion. But by that time, Elgin Baylor, if I recall correctly, Elgin Baylor, who's pictured in this photo right here, sitting on the front furthest to the right, he retired 9 games into the season. So, unfortunately for Baylor, the 1 year that he, not the 1 year, but the year that he retired was the year the Lakers finally won it all. So he unknowingly missed his chance of winning a championship. He was just done as a player. He was just done. But this was a really good all-around team that won a championship that year. And it's just, to me, in my opinion, that this team and their 33-game winning streak, even if the Miami Heat happened to surpass their streak, I just still will see this win streak as more impressive. And before I go, I also want to say something else. Something I noticed about certain people here on YouTube. If you've been on YouTube as long as I have, I've been on here now going on 6.5, 7 years. Begin to see people for what they are. Some people who are real, some people who are phony. And there's some really good people here on YouTube, but there's also some people on here who are not what they seem to be. Got some people on here who have delusions of grandeur, very narcissistic, and people that also tend to make comments about people on the slide. Some people, look, I'm not the best at doing analyzation. I'm not the most knowledgeable person on YouTube. I try my best. I try to learn more about everything that I can every day. But I'm not the best. Some people think they're the best. Some people think they're celebrities on here. That's fine. I also noticed that when I had 1,200 subscribers on my other account, people always would message me, want to do videos and whatnot. But now they see me as a smaller channel. I don't get the same respect that I used to with other people. That's fine with that too. But like I always want to say, I just want to say it as I end this video, that I only do YouTube videos because I enjoy talking about sports or talking about different issues, and I will never change regardless whether I have 100 and something subscribers or whether I have 100,000 subscribers. I will always be the same, and I don't let the number of subscribers dictate how I interact with people on here. I'm not going to also purchase fake subs and just try to have more subs than someone else on because of my ego or whatnot. But anyway, that's it. That's all I had to say. Peace.